I am live. I am live apparently. Hello everybody. Welcome to Lazy Mini Painting. Hope you've had a good day. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the day so far from when if you've been in this morning and if you've come back. Always good. You need to change that to all chat, otherwise it doesn't show me. And it never actually shows me what goes on in the other chat box anyway, so as per usual I have to wait for that beep and then I can go and join my own channel. Why have we only got one? Why have we only got one? It should have two. It should have the portrait cam on. Why has it not got the portrait cam on? Well, we'll wait. It gives me a second or two, I suppose, to try and find my own stream so I can come and join you. And I hope this has actually come up on portrait mode as well as... Why is nothing happening on YouTube? I'm sorry people, give me a moment. Technical issues, as per usual. It wouldn't be right if I actually did everything as it was supposed to, would it? Right, so first of all we go to there and we click that. And then hopefully when we come back onto here, because now we've closed it. Good evening, Graham. Good evening. And yes, now I am on the portrait cam as well. So I can see what everybody's saying and I can see what everyone's doing, including the... I've not been on for 5 minutes yet. I can't respond to that, Graham. That's not fair. Right. We're not doing the painting bit because, well, we all know what I think of their paintings and how they do it. And I ignore them. All the time. Every bloody time I ignore what they say. So I'm taking the painting bit off. We have issue 64, which is the one in my hand. This one. And we have issue 65 to do all the lore and reading on tonight. Now I covered the building of the 10 guys this morning. Because it was 2 parts. Oh great, so the first thing it gives us in issue 64 is Bonds of Honor part 15. Which I've not been reading because... It's lots of parts and I want you to enjoy that bit on your own. Something for you to do and sit down and chill with. So I get to skip that first page. Haha! I don't know what about 65, but this is issue 64 and I get to skip that page. So what does it tell us on this one? Hello, Octavio. Nice for you to come in. Thanks for joining us. So issue 64 in the Genestealer Cult section. It tells about the Arsenal of Ascension. Ooh. Sounds funky, doesn't it? Let's see. Let's see if I can... Yeah, idiot. Got the wrong glasses on, haven't I? I'm really going to find it easy to read with them on. Let's change from my reading glasses, shall we? You know, if I had brains, I would be dangerous. As Sparkles keeps telling me. Rysel, how do you do? Thank you for coming in. I hope you've had a good week so far. I hope everyone's had a good week so far. It's only Wednesday, but it's halfway through. You get a good chunk of it out of the way then. Move the glasses out of the way, the wrong ones, put them in the case, and then I can put the reading glasses on, which will help me be able to read. I'm from Manchester in England. I'm not so much doing history. This is all made up sci-fi lore from Warhammer 40,000. So if you play Warhammer 40,000 or you just want to find out about it, I'm going to be going through some of the lore from that. It's specifically the lore that they've written in the Combat Patrol collection magazine from Hachette Artworks. So we are about 6. This is issue 64 that I'm going to start with, and then I've going to move on to issue 65 because it was a double issue for building the models. Right, now I've got my reading glasses on. That helps. Right, so Arsenal of Ascension. The forces of the Genestealer cults acquire their weapons from diverse sources. Move microphone out of the way. Does help, but twist it so I can still talk into it. Yeah, so that's where it was. The forces of the Genestealer cults acquire their weapons from diverse sources, sometimes stealing them, sometimes adapting other devices and sometimes fabricating them from scratch. They build their armories in secret, preparing for their uprising when all secrecy is thrown off and they can finally attack in force. Yeah. It is a nice country. Oh, Turkey's supposed to be quite a nice country as well, in fairness. Rizal, Turkey's supposed to be quite a nice country. Oh, I'm 5 minutes in. Thank you, Graham. Go fuck yourself. Had to wait 5 minutes for that. Just because you call me fucknuts. Had to wait 5 minutes just to tell you to go fuck yourself. In a nice way, of course. Don't ask. I'm losing the plot. I think I'm hungry. Definitely need a drink. Don't know what I'm going to do about it. Let's actually carry on doing the reading thing that I'm supposed to be doing. As the Genestealer cults wait for their day of ascension, they hoard the arms and munitions that they will need for their uprising. This is an effort that spans many generations, but in a galaxy consistently at war, it is an easy task to get hold of weaponry. Some of the weapons are simple firearms constructed by the Genestealer cults themselves. Others are stolen from the Imperial Army, perhaps taken in raids, or else diverted by agents of the cults who lurk within the ranks of the Astra Militarum and other military organisations. Many of the rest of their weapons are converted or repurposed from other devices of industry. The tools of construction and mining are excellent candidates to turn into the purposes of war and destruction. All the while, the melding of human and alien genomes creates new monstrosities who bear weaponized mutations. Sorry, I can't even read. When an uprising begins, the Genestealer cults bring their desperate sources of weaponry together to create a cohesive force. With such a diverse range of arms, they are able to overcome even the strongest defenders. So hopefully they're going to give us examples of these things in a minute. Yes, they are. And they're going to let us name the Neophyte hybrids that we made this morning. This is the problem with having to go back a week. So we do get a couple of examples here. So we get, if I can get it in and under the light. I've got a zoom. Helps if you use it, doesn't it? That way I don't have to. So we have demolition charges. Demolition charges are used by the cult to destroy enemy infrastructure and vehicles. We also have the seismic cannon. Now we made one of these when we made the actual unit. Designed for demolition, seismic cannons can easily shred enemies to pieces. So I'm guessing this is going to be your elite killer. So you take out your things like Terminators, stuff like that. Oh no, we got one of them as well, didn't we? I'm trying to remember. Where is he? He's up there somewhere. We also get a heavy mining tool guy. I know where that guy is. He's here. He's there. See? We get a heavy mining tool guy as long as I don't break his arm off like I've just done. Oops. He's going down there to be repaired. So heavy mining tool. Anything that can cut through rock will defeat armoured foes with ease. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And then we've got the purloined Imperial weaponry. So all those were the repurposed mining equipment. These are the purloined Imperial weaponry. So hybrid firearm. It's essentially either a las gun, a shotgun, an auto gun, a bog standard, what we would use nowadays kind of weapon. We have a Weber, which we did build another one of them today as well. It fires sticky strands that can choke and entrap enemy soldiers. So I'm guessing that's going to have special rules that will allow it to either slow people down or hello, I'm Moxie. The secret of my glowing skin is being pale, pasty, and having a light too bright. That's how you get glowing skin like mine. Don't see sun as much as you should. Yes, we also have a heavy stubber, which we also made earlier. Pretty standard weapon even for the Imperial Guard. That is easy. Then you get the xenobiomorph weapons, which are down there. So your basic one is a claw. Just a claw. You also get cult knives, as he's pointing out there, which is A knife doesn't really need much of an explanation on how you would use it in battle. Good evening, Twisted. Good evening. Good evening. And we get the other one, which is literally just called bioweapons. And that could be anything from lashes to bone swords, whips with claws on the end, various different mutations that you could see throughout the Tyranid army that would come through and show themselves on like second and third generation cultists. So if you manage to get this far with your own magazine and you've built all your little cultists, as I said, we do have a few with just standard shotguns, and as I said, we had one with the really, really big laser. Or whatever, the heavier weapon for the unit. But they are the neophyte hybrids, as it shows there. So we've built one of them. We've got the guy with the standard. We've got the leader with his pickaxe. We've got the heavy stubber. We've got a Weber. And everyone else has just got a standard weapon. Neophyte hybrids wait for the blessed uprising when they will swarm out of their hiding places and overthrow those they see as their oppressors. Armed with deadly repurposed construction tools, they set upon their enemies with abject fury in numbers so large they are almost impossible to resist. So in this section, it lets us kind of give us a bit of background on our unit in this case. So you would roll a d6 or choose, it's entirely up to you. So the background table, if you roll a d6 and you go in that method, get 1 or a 2. These neophyte hybrids have infiltrated a mining colony and are posing as hard workers who toil for the benefit of the Imperium. So nasty little buggers that hide and pretend to be working. We've all met them to people, the ones who pretend to do work but do absolutely bugger all. If you roll a 3 or a 4, so the middle one, these neophyte hybrids mutations are increasingly difficult to hide, and they lurk in the sewers beneath their settlement to evade detection. So those are the ones that have mutated too far, and they will be noticed. They can't hide with humans. The pasty ridges on their heads, the fact they've got an extra arm, kind of gives it away. If you get a 5 or a 6, however, these neophyte hybrids are afflicted with dire visions of an apocalyptic future, but these only make them more fervent and dedicated. So they see what's coming, with the hybrids being what they are. They see the Great Devourer essentially coming to nom 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 nom, and don't care. You just think it's right, it should be happening. Right up until the point where the hive mind turns off its control over them, and then they realise, oh crap, we're dinner. Not good, but they realise that too late, sadly. So let's have a look at what that unit actually does, because we've not had a chance to look at this yet either. So we have neophyte hybrids. A movement of 6, which is pretty standard for infantry. Toughness of 3, which is a standard human. Save, which is pathetic at a 5+. 1 wound. OC2, which is actually pretty damn good. I mean, you can hold an objective if there's a big enough number of them on there. So let's see what the actual weapons do. So we'll start with the melee weapons, which are standard. A close combat weapon, hitting on a 4+, a strength 3. No AP and just does 1 damage. Just 1 attack as well. You can also get a power weapon. Still 1 attack. Strength 4, so it does go up in strength. -2 AP, but still 1 damage. They're not melee units, as it shows that. They're not particularly melee units. Let's face it, they are a shooty force. They're going to want to take you out before you get to them. Pardon me, I'm sorry. I've also forgot to mute my phone. So let's stop the beeps and the doops and catch up on the thing that Twisty's just put up, because it's only just shown up for me. That's good to hear, Twisted. So you actually managed to keep something down, and good. Glad to hear that. because you have not been well today. We know this from this morning. Yeah, you keep going. You'll get through it. You will get through it. Right. Within the unit we built earlier this morning, we have what is essentially 4 different ranged weapons, not including the leader pistol. We have a heavy stubber, which is not a bad one actually. Rapid fire 3 with 3 shots at 36-inch range. So if you can get that in half range, that's 6 shots. That's not bad just for mass firepower. If I can get it on. It's just not focusing. It is not focusing. And if we bring it up too close, it just doesn't want to work. So 3 shots, hitting on 4s, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. Get it in a closer range, you're getting 6 shots. So you're usually gonna get at least 1 wound on something there. Leader pistol is a standard bolt pistol, 12-inch range, 1 shot. He's not as accurate as a Space Marine, so he hits on 4s. Other than that, it's the same. Strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. Standard hybrid firearm. Now this is whether he's got a shotgun or whether he's got a stubber or whatever kind of bog standard armament they have. It'll follow the hybrid firearm rule. So it's 1 shot at 24 inches. Rapid fire 1, so it's 2 shots at 12. Not bad at all. Hitting on 4s with a strength of 3, no AP and damage 1. So you're looking guard level of weaponry. It's pretty much a las gun. Following the same stat line, you just named it something different. The seismic cannon. Now this is the one I have no idea on. It's heavy. So if you stay still, it gives you a +1 to hit. Awesome. And it's rapid fire 2 as well. 24-inch range, 4 attacks. So that's 6 attacks at 12 inches. Not bad. Hitting on 5s, but as I said, because of the heavy keyword, if you stay still, it'll hit on 4s. Same as the rest of them. Strength 6. Now that's a bit of a difference. That's going to hit you wounding elite infantry on 3s and 4s most of the time with that. It does have AP, but only 1. It can negate cover, essentially. So if they're getting a +1 for cover, you've got -1 AP, they're not getting that anymore. But it's D3 damage. Bit of a random amount of damage, but potential at least to pop off an elite unit or at least 1 or 2 from an elite unit. The Weber. Oh, the Weber has devastating wounds, which is a nice rule for just wounding things in general because you don't get saves against those. And it's also a torrent, so it's automatic hits. Nice. 12-inch range, D6 attacks as is usual with a torrent weapon. And obviously, no, you don't have to roll to hit with it being automatic hits. It is heavily relying on those devastating wounds though. It's only got a strength of 2. No AP and 1 damage, so it's really relying on those devastating wounds to go through. If there's any way you can get rerolls on that, that's the one you're going to want to pump them on, because you're going to be essentially fishing for the 6s to wound to get them to go through as a devastating wound. For a battle line for your basic infantry, that's actually not a bad profile when you compare it to things like Imperial Guard, Eldar, and other things with similar ranges on them. No point comparing it to a Space Marine. A Space Marine is bloody superhuman. But comparing it to a Guardsman or a Tau, they're not bad. They're not bad at all. And we have a campaign. I'll leave the campaigns. I'll do them both together. So we'll move on to issue 65, which is going to tell you what he wants you to paint all your Genestealer cults like, which is essentially red and grey. They want you to paint it red and grey with purpley pink skin. Lots of Ad Administratum grey, lots of Lead Belcher, and it's pretty much a wash for the skin. So you paint it ivory and then you give it a Carroburg Crimson wash, and that's the skin done. Just making sure I've not missed anything that's not already been covered on the channel. No, that's pretty much it. You start out with Administratum Grey as your base coat for the armour, Mephiston Red for the reds, and Ivory for the skins, and then Lead Belcher for anything that's metal. And you highlight up through, as you have done through each model so far. Francois, good evening. Hello and welcome in. You've come in just in time for me to start reading about a Warzone. And this is Warzone Chalnath. So, reading section L. I thought they'd give these... Oh, they confuse me. They really do confuse me. Zoom back out so everyone can see. There we go. The Chalnath Expanse is a vast war zone in the Ultima Segmentum of the Imperium Nihilus. After the emergence of the Great Rift, it was cut off from the rest of the Imperium. In the darkness, heresy spread, and now the system is in the grip of civil wars, Xenos invasions, cult uprisings, and insidious ideologies. The Chalnath Expanse is a vital area of space that has become the centre of several overlapping conflicts. The Tau, ever extending their empire and bringing new worlds under their control, have expanded here in pursuit of the greater good. This has brought them into conflict with those already in the area. Their chief rivals, the Imperium, maintain a sprawling network of allied worlds to power their great war machine. The armies of the Astra Militarum, bolstered by the support of other Imperial militaries. Good evening, Adam. How are you doing? Thank you, and welcome in, mate. Well, I've lost. So, Astra Militarum, bolstered by the support of other Imperial militaries like the Death Watch and the Adeptus Sororitas. But these worlds do not sit wholly under Imperial control. The insidious Genestealer cults have infiltrated many, capturing vital positions and even turning whole regiments of Imperial soldiers against their former brothers and sisters, as they spread their unholy Genestealer curse even further. The newly arrived Tau not only have these threats to reckon with, but must face the arrival of an Orc war that threatens any chance at respite from the fighting. Into the breach they have swarmed endless... No, I've missed that one completely. Even with my reasoning glasses on, I've still managed to mess that one up. Let's start that line again. Into the breach have swarmed endless hordes of piratical Orc freebooters. Some have come in search of plunder, but many have simply been drawn to the ferocity of the fighting and the chance to get involved in the unending bloodshed that has wrecked the region. So, Chalnath, not a nice place to be. Lots of people fighting. So we have a few worlds. We have Vulcus. The world of Vulcus is famous for its city-sized gun emplacements. The massive ballistas, elite kill teams of every faction fight to defend, destroy, or exploit it. Saints Halt. Saints Halt was a crowded shrine world. The Death Watch fought here, defending the world from Tau attack and from Hiveworm uprising from the Genestealer cults. Nice. Lots of people having to fight and defend. Awesome. Well, it's what we want in Warhammer. We want war. If there's no war, you can't have Warhammer. And last we have Cestus. Cestus is a barren world covering with mountain ranges. The Tau gained a foothold there. Attempts to return it to Imperial control evolved into a long and bloody war. So Chalnath is not an easy place to end up. Sorry, Graham just mentioned something there. If either of you want that art game Dave was plugging, let me know and you'll... Graham, that's a stupid question. That is a very stupid question. That's like asking someone if they want to breathe. Of course we want the game. Of course we want to play an art game. So here we have the actual maps of the Chalnath sector, I think. Ultima Segmentum in the Imperium Nihilus. So, oh no, the Arigenian system this time. So this is what we're going to learn about, and we have all sorts of things in here. I don't know most of this. This is going to be weird as heck. The Arasian system is a small but important area of the Chalnath Expanse. It has been heavily infiltrated by the Genestealer cults, whose schemes disrupt Imperial activities in the area. So we have, like 9 planets within this sector? Yeah, so let's start with number 1. Where's number 1? Aragian 1. This desolate world is... I'm supposed to say is. That's an A. Hachette, you can't even type right. Look, these people, Hachette Partworks, see that there? See that logo? Yeah? Useless, they can't even type right. Is spelled I-S, not I-A. Just so they know. This desperate world, blighted by fierce electromagnetic storms and devastating solar winds. The cults of the Four-Armed Emperor hide their fleet in the planet's shadow. So that's the first planet in the system. Second planet in the system. This world's oceans are rich with algae that is exported to other worlds. Operatives of the Genestealer cults contaminate these exports and use them to spread the Genestealer curse to other worlds. Ooh. Yeah, that's not an excuse, Graham. The fact that the French is not an excuse. The French know how to spell English. The word is 2 letters. It's really difficult to mess up, and it's been messed up on a keyboard. You can tell it has because it hit A. Somebody can't type, and nobody proofread it. Bloody idiots is what they are. Bloody idiots. Oh well. Not much I could do about it now. The magazine's in my hand. It's here. It's been printed. I just have to try and catch them before I read them. Which is hard enough as it is. I'm struggling to read, never mind catch mistakes. So, the third planet in the system. This world is known for its rich bounty of nutrient gruel, but it fell to the insurrection of the cults years ago, and the members of the merchant guilds who trade with the world have begun to be inducted into the cult. So, they've got a pretty strong grip on this place. Fourth planet in the system. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. That's the one there. This world is an artificial planetoid that began as a void station 4,000 years ago. It is a trade hub that sees deals struck between those within the system, but also with those from outside the system. The merchants who have fallen to the cults take every opportunity to spread the taint of their accursed patriarchs. Nice. So yeah, these are just spreading the contagion. Spreading the contagion. That's all the Genestealer cults do. Spread it till we're ready. Spread it till we're ready. As soon as we're ready, take over the planet, then realise we've made a mistake. Planet number 5 in the system. This world is an Imperial military stronghold that is garrisoned by Cadian shock troops. This should be harder for the Genestealer cults to take. But this has not spared it from the taint of Genestealer cults. Alright, way to make my words just irrelevant straight away, thank you. Operatives of the cults managed to partially infiltrate the unit stationed there, and now the planet is plunged into a brutal civil war. So they did find it harder on that planet, they're just having to fight for it. Arasian planet 6. This stronghold is Arasian 5's largest moon. It is covered with missile batteries that can strike traffic in any of the system's space lanes. A small number of infiltrators managed to detonate a munitions store. In the mayhem, the stronghold came under deadly attack by a larger contingent from the Genestealer cults. And that's number 6. Number 7. This thinly populated world was betrayed by its military who had fallen to the cults. They released Genestealers into the wild and allowed them to spread their curse at will, overcoming much of the population. A few hold out, waging a guerrilla war against the invading Xenos. But they're not going to make it. We know that. Genestealer's going to hunt them down. They're going to hunt them down in the forests, they're going to hunt them down in the fields, and they're going to get chopped. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Arasian 9, Planet 9. This world serves as a shrine to the venerated St. Lycha. Lycha? Why can't they use normal names? I don't know. A Magus of the Genestealer cults impersonates her to corrupt the visiting pilgrims and worshippers. Oh, nice. So, they've taken a dead saint, like you do, and then, yeah, they impersonate her and they corrupt everything. I believe I've just had a message. Thank you very much, Alma. Thank you very much. I'm guessing you're in somewhere, and I believe you're also in bed as well. So thank you for coming to watch. I hope I don't bore you. Well, in fact, there's a good chance I will bore you to sleep. People have used me for ASMR before now. So hey, and thank you for subscribing as well, as it's just popped up for me. And Buzzard, welcome in, mate. Welcome in. I hope you're doing. And how? Almost in the chat as well. If you want to say hi, how? Just so you can have the same thing but in reverse this time. So what are you doing here? We pop around. We get to know each other. I believe I'm up to number 9 now. This is the last planet in the system. Arasian 9. Not had a bedtime story read to you in years. Well, I hope I'm up to standard. I'm up to good stuff for you. Jay, welcome in, mate. Welcome in. Hope you're having fun and glad you could make it. And poor house just going nuts now. As soon as I popped up in yours, Alma, and now you've popped up in mine, poor house's head doesn't know where it's going. Oh dear. Okay, yeah, right. Arasian 9. What else I was up to? The clouds above this gas giant were once rich pickings for trawlers. They harvested its gas clouds and shipped the gas off to the rest of the system, where it powered vital infrastructure like shield generators. The cults have worked to sabotage and disrupt operations, which means I don't think they've quite managed it. But also in this sector, because we have loads of stuff in here. So we have mining fleets, we have orbital cities, and we have fortress stations. There's a couple of mining fleets, lots of orbital cities around the Startide Nexus, which is where the tower is expanding, and then even more fortress stations. So the sphere of expansion. The Tau extended their empire through a pattern of exploration, conquest, and settlement. These cycles last 4 millennia, and are known as spheres of expansion. The Chalnath expanse has seen action from troops of the 4th and 5th spheres. So it shows you here the 5th sphere of expansion. We've got Hexos and we've got Kar Duniash, which is all part of this section. And this is a recovered map fragment. This map was captured from the Tau by Imperial troops. Their mission was to seek intelligence on Tau operations in the area of the Chalnath Expanse. And as you can see, they have taken over quite a large chunk. In this case, a very large chunk. Which is kind of up here and then round here. So that's the cutout section, which once you make it bigger, becomes this section, which has the Startide Nexus at its heart. That's how they jump about at the moment. It's the closest thing they've got to warp travel for the Tau. We're nearly up to the 2 campaign missions. So, forced disposition. The Chalnath Expanse is a vast area, and every faction has a presence in the region. However, there are several combatants whose campaigns of conquest or self-defense are so vast that they eclipse much of the rest of the fighting. So, obviously the main force in there will be the Imperium. That is pretty impressive actually, isn't it, Jay? They do move a lot slower, but they are a younger race. They don't use warp travel. They just slowly expand, slowly expand, slowly expand. Farsight comes along, tells them all where to shove it, takes his own little group of band, other side of the thing, he will go explore over there. Can't kill me, I've got a special blade that keeps me alive. Is a different thing though. The rest of them though, that follow the ethereals, yeah, they did just do things slowly. It's what you get from like cow goat people. They're all hooves and no fingers. Which we will get to in a moment because they're down there. But I'm going to do the Imperium first. The Imperium's forces in the Kalnath Expanse are stretched to their limit. Their focus split between the invading Tau, rising Genestealer cults, and marauding orcs. But the forces of the zealous Adeptus Sororitas and alien-hunting Deathwatch have helped stem the tide. So, as far as the Imperium's concerned, you're not getting much Space Marine action, but you do get some power armor with your Sisters of Battle. Funny thing is how I've got a button there. It says end. It usually means end for me. Definitely means end for me. When I click that, when I click that, I get to move from my chair. It's fun. I actually hurt my back this morning though. Wasn't good. Also in this area though, we have the Genestealer cults, which obviously we've been talking about, we've been building this morning. The Genestealer cults have been plotting to take over the Kalnath Expanse for generations. The invasion of the Tau has forced their hand, and across the Expanse, cult leaders enact their plans of insurgency and sabotage. So they were looking to... Right, so they were going to take longer, but because the Tau have arrived, they've gone, shit. We got to get moving now. And they've had to rush it. So the Tau have actually done something good for a change. I'll do the Tau next then. The expansionist Tau have moved into the Kalnath Expanse and found themselves immediately beset on all sides. That's what a Tau do. They have raised the ire of the area's existing inhabitants, and they have placed themselves between a number of deadly foes already embroiled in furious wars. See, they don't get much luck, the Tau, in fairness, do they? They don't get much luck. They start out, the Imperium ignore them because they're just not evolved enough when they first get there. And by the time they figure out that they are evolved enough, they've met the Orcs, they've met the Death Guard, and then they go and run into the Ultramarines. And then they just keep expanding and just keep hitting more things that want to wipe them out. They're really not having a good time in the galaxy, are they, for the new kids? Going from the new kids, though, to one of the oldest, we have the Orcs in the system. Orcs belong in every system just to make it more fun. Orcs. The Orcs are drawn to conflict like moths to a flame. The endless warfare of the Kalnath Expanse has proven particularly enticing for marauding bands of Orcs freebooters, who flock to the Expanse to indulge their favourite activities of looting, brawling, and killing. Essentially, Orcs has gone for a war. Orcs are fun. I like Orcs. And that leads us on to campaigns. Now, this combat patrol does run you through small little missions to run in sets of 3 to run as a small campaign. So let's go back to the other one. So we have campaign Eldari versus Leagues of Votann. Or if you're old like me, Eldar versus Space Dwarfs. Yeah, get the war going. Yeah. So, for modern players, Eldari versus Leagues of Votann. For me, Eldar versus Space Dwarfs. So in this mission, it's playing it on just a single map, by the looks of it. A band of Eldari Rangers has disappeared in this system. Desperate to find the whereabouts of their kin, a larger force of Eldari has moved into the system. Although they are able to pick up some clues as to the whereabouts of their missing comrades have been, they begin to suspect the worst. But even if the Rangers have fallen in battle, it's still vital that they are found and their spirit stones are recovered. The Eldari think nothing of scouring the territory of others during their search, and their fervent activity is starting to attract unwarranted attention. It is starting to watch, yeah. Kind of how Warhammer has ripped off pretty much every sci-fi and fantasy trope you've ever known, and then copyrighted it so nobody else can use it. Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom, Meanwhile, the warriors of the Leagues of Votann have discovered this resource-rich area and descended onto it in force. While Hernkin scouts scour the system for the richest pickings, other forces spread out to begin mining and holding their enemies back. But the sudden arrival of so many heavily armed troops is bound to raise the ire of others, and they quickly find their new neighbours are less than happy with their presence. So in this mission, to play the scenario in this campaign article, you will need combat patrol mission called The Clash of Patrols, which you will be able to find in your collection, if you have been collecting this magazine so far, filed under G, Core Missions 1. Now it's an easy setup. You've got, because it's one board, your main lines are, from the centre line, you have 10 inches, so you're only 20 inches from the front deployment lines from each other. Then from the very, very centre, going towards each deployment zone, 6 inches will mark one of each objectives, and then going left and right, you've got 10 inches. So you've got 4 objectives and a nice diamond there in the middle. You will be using the full Eldar. Yeah, you will be using your full Eldar combat patrol in this one. All rules, all stratagems, as well as your Leagues of Votann. The full combat patrol, all rules, so judgment tokens, all stratagems, all enhancements, everything that they have given us so far, you get to use all the rules. And scoring is the same as always. 1 victory point for having for controlling an objective marker, and 1 victory point for controlling more objective markers than your opponent. So you can score 2 each turn over a period of 5 turns. That is a good idea. You can go through, for miniatures, if you're looking to buy miniatures for your game, you can go through things like My Mini Factory, Cults 3D, see if you can find 3D printed ones. That'll be cheaper than going through manufacturers, and certainly avoiding copyrights. So you will decide who is the defender, who is the attacker. The attacker deploys in the red zone, defender deploys in the green zone. Most of the time they make the attacker go first. You can, if you want to, optionally roll for it. And it comes to tell us about the Eldar and if you win with each side. So under heavy fire, for Eldar victory, under heavy fire from endless salvos of shurikens, the kin are pushed back, allowing the Eldari to begin their search of the area. A few stragglers remain, but as further waves of Eldari troops move into the area, they too are forced to flee. Wind Riders begin to scout ahead, looking for clues, as the remainder of the troops move into newly captured areas. Nice. So if you've won a victory already, if you win this victory with the Eldar, it goes down as just 1 victory. If it's your 3rd victory in a row, then you have completed your Eldari campaign and you have won. You have won the Eldari campaign and they get their Spirit Stones back from their Rangers. That's it from them. If you go for a League of Votann, if you're playing Leagues of Votann and you win with them, under Withering Fire, a few Eldari who remain alive are forced into full retreat. Some of the kin give chase, determined to ensure that they are completely routed. The remainder take up defensive positions, ever watchful for new threats. This was a great victory, and the bravery of the warriors has saved the mining operation from disruption, at least for now. Again, the same things apply. If it's your first victory, you will move on to your next one. So, in this case, it'll probably be Space Marines, then Tyranids. Space Marines, then Orcs. to complete your campaign victory. Same with Eldari, it'll probably be either Space Marines or Orcs to complete your campaign victory here, because they're the only ones that are in the area. Now, on the back of this, it's going to tell us what we got this week, which is the rest of the Neophyte hybrids. Next week, we get the full unit of Aberrants, which are the ones that have like just signposts with concrete on the bottom to smack you in the head, hammers, mining tools. Very mutated. Very, very mutated. But that's what we'll get next week. We'll worry about that then. Oh, that is a good... You're not dressed right to be doing that, Graham. But anyone is interested, and they can ship worldwide. If you are looking for proxy models, Dungeons and Dragons models, or you play one-page rules, then if you go to Rogues Den Hobbies and you see anything you like, use the code LAS10 and you'll get 10% off at discount, which is very nice of Graham to do that for us. I have no idea if anything happens to me, so I'm technically saying this is not sponsored because I've bought stuff from there rather than... Yeah, like that. It is. I buy stuff from there quite a lot. That's where my proxies come from. As you know, that is also where Lavarus comes from. That's where I got my Terminators with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields from. I got my 8-bound from there. I've had quite a few models now. In fact, I think I've got another one partially painted on my desk, which was just one that he sent me for fun. Which I can't find her. Where's she gone? There she is. Like, little pirate lady with pistol and sword. Nice little print. Very high quality. I'm not a good enough painter, but he sent me that just for a fun thing to paint. And that was out of one of the D&D sections. That was the Venetians, I believe. Right, so now we're on for the second campaign part. Oh, this time, no, he's putting Voltan against Chaos Space Marines. Okay, so campaign Chaos Space Marines versus the Leagues of Votann. The Chaos Space Marines and the Kin of the Leagues can both boast of long, bitter memories. Their bloodied history weighs heavily in their minds, and every new battle adds to their tale of strife and enmity. No worries, Jay. In fact, that's probably a better idea. If you just give me 2 moments, I will go actually post a link. Ba-boom. Where is it? Rogues Den Hobbies. Go to the announcement section. He does have a Discord. We just go to the home page and we copy that. Ali, where are you? You do this quicker than me. And then we have to open YouTube, because I can't, for some reason, post links from Streamlabs. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But it will not let me post links in Streamlabs. It will, however, let me post links in there. So if you do want to check out Rogues Den Hobbies, there is a link in the chat for you. Now there are plenty of things in there. Feline miniatures coming soon. Oh, you're putting the kitty cats up. Dude, you're doing the kitty cats. I mean, obviously you've got your space bears, your space dwarves, you've got all your Venetians, vampires, Roman Empire, rat catchers, pirates, Native Americans, medieval, feudal Japan, dragons, angels, Amazonians, and the Royal Hunt. Lots of fantasy models in there, as well as 2 pretty much full ranges for 1-page rules that will proxy quite nicely into 40k if you're not playing official tournaments. So that's the Space Bears and the Space Dwarves. But the feline miniatures that are coming soon. I didn't see that one. I've not been on for a couple of days. Mainly to make sure Sparkles doesn't have an heart attack. My PF... What's the PFP? How? You've got to remember you're younger and know this slang than I do. What's a PFP? Can somebody tell this old man what that means? I know I'm old. I don't understand all this. Well, have a check, Jay. Have a look. Um, just so you know, though, the standard Marines, well, the standard Space Bear guys are GW Terminator size, and the big Space Bear elites are bigger than the Terminators. So they are massive. I did get the Space Bear, an actual Space Bear to proxy for a Brutalis Dreadnought. I did ask Rogues then to upscale it a little bit, so that is my Lavarus Space Bear to be my proxy for a Brutalis Dreadnought. Problem is, this is my proxy for Angron, and as you can see, when it comes to body, this bear is just huge. He is huge. I got my scaling wrong. I got the scaling wrong. It was not Rogues Den Hobbies. It was me who got the scaling wrong. They just did it to my brief. Oh, how are you gonna make me go look at what PFP is now, aren't you? Unless it's oh, he's literally just called a PFP. Right, no, that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Are the Makwa actually the same size as Primaris? Oh, it's just with the fur and the extra bulk, and because they've got more like cataphracti shoulder pads rather than the smooth ones, it bulks them out a bit. So yeah, so right, they are about Primaris size, but they do have different shoulder pads. Same size in height, right? So they are height wise, but the chunky boys, they are chunky boys. I've also been completely derailed from reading through this. Completely derailed. Right, where was he up to? I'm probably about this far away from going looking for my other models. Don't, lads, don't do it. Don't do it. This is the second stream today. Don't get distracted. I will get distracted. So, right, I've read that bit, and now I've got to come down and read this bit now that I've spent about 10 minutes just off on a tangent. The Chaos Space Marines have stormed into the system and have immediately begun to capture vital positions. No worries, Jay, it doesn't take much to distract me. At all. Shiny should be my middle name. Laz Shiny mini painting. Again, where was I? Right, I'll just start again from the top of the... Yeah. The Chaos Space Marines have stormed into the system and have immediately begun to capture vital positions. Once entrenched, they will be able to launch a campaign of bloodshed and violence on the rest of the system. As each planet falls, terror spreads around the region. In this climate, it becomes ever easier for the Chaos Space Marines to overwhelm more worlds, pressing home their advantage and tightening their grip on the ever-weakening system. Oh, PFP is profile picture. I believe my profile picture is also my channel logo. I think. And I want to keep that because that was made by Sparkles. My fantastic missus. So, I keep as much as I can for her. And let's face it, this channel is more dedicated to those people who have inabilities to do things than people who have abilities to do things. So, if you're, to steal a phrase from Graham, if you have some kind of tism, or you are on that spectrum somewhere, this is a very welcoming place for you, because the host is off his fucking tits anyway. I just don't suffer idiots much, that's all. So people who come in and start spouting nonsense about things that are in the news and the media, and I really don't give two fucks, mate. I'm talking about a game with plastic soldiers, and you're talking about something 2,500 miles away. Ain't affecting me. Nothing I can do. Jog on. But if you've got questions about this, let's do it all day long. But seeing as I have recently had my ADHD confirmation, it makes a lot more sense that my head doesn't work now. Now, a lot of things that I do now make more sense to me and a lot of people around me. So, meanwhile, in the Fortress of Doom, the warriors of the Leagues of Votann have entered this resource-rich area and began to pick it clean of its valuable materials. Hernkin scouts scour the system for the richest pickings, and the remaining forces spread out to begin mining and holding their enemies back. But the other combatants in the region are unlikely to tolerate the arrival of a bunch of heavily armed and aggressively opportunistic newcomers. In this climate, war and conflict are inevitable. Graham, do you want me to come over there and kick you in the ass? We all know. Well, I'm technically not Lancashire. I'm Greater Manchester, mate. I've now evolved past Lancashire. I am a greater being now. I am in Greater Manchester. Whereas you're just in Yorkshire. With your ferret. And your moths in your wallet. No, it's okay, Jay. Not sure why. Clarity? I never get clarity. My head's just a complete pile of spaghetti. Right, back to the mission. Got to remember now. I'm supposed to be doing stuff for YouTube. I'm supposed to be pretending to be a real YouTuber and not somebody who does this for therapy. Yeah, right. So to play this scenario, you will need go back into your books, find section G, core mission 2. Now, rather than playing it across the long edges, you're deploying down the short edges. So from your deployment zone is 12 inches from the center line. Now in this scenario, you both have the attacker and the defender have an objective within their starting deployment zones by 2 inches. So you can put a unit on there, turn 1 and have it claimed. You actually have a ferret. You know what? You really have a ferret? But you've got a flat cap as well, haven't you? You've got it, right. That's it. If you're wearing anything to my wedding, you're bringing your flat cap. Just saying. You're going to have to bring it. Just so everyone knows you're from Yorkshire and they can rip the out of you. Because you're coming over into Greater Manchester. And we don't settle for none of that Yorkshire's better than Lancashire crap. Especially when you're over here. Right, anyway, back onto the mission. I was explaining how you put your board layout. So from the very centre spot, you go 14 inches towards each deployment zone from the centre. So it ends up 2 inches in your deployment zone. Then going up and down, it's 8 inches. So again, you have 4 objective markers. You have 2 as well. Oh, that is so... That's... Mwah, perfect. Could not have asked for that to come any better. So flat cap at 3 ferrets, down to 1 now. Oh yeah, you do hunt. You've got a shotgun, you've got a flat cap, and you've got a ferret. Does anything else scream Yorkshire? Oh, and you've got an empty wallet because you won't fucking. But there's no chance you're putting your hand in your pocket for your wallet. No worries, Twisted. You take care of you, Mrs. and your house. I'm just here. You can come back and message me and talk to me whenever you need to. Thank you for coming in, but take care of yourself, mate. Take care of yourself first. Again, forgot what I'm up to. I've read all that now, haven't I? We've laid out the deployment zone, so we've got attacker on this side, defender on this side, 24-inch no man's land in the middle, and however long that is from the board that you're using on the core mission. Again, you're using full combat patrols that you would have by now. So even though I dismantled my standard Chaos Marines and absorbed them into my World Eaters, you would still have your Havocs, you'd have your Hellbrute, you'd have your Legionaries, and you'd have what's the equivalent of a chaplain called for Dark Apostle? That's it. You'd have a Dark Apostle with his two little flunkies. So you've got a fair old bit of an army there, but you've also got the full Leagues of Votann. You've got the guys with the big axes, you've got your 3 little speeders, you've got your full unit of warriors, and you've got your count. Again, you use all rules, all enhancements, all stratagems, making choices where relevant if you wish to switch out the enhancement. And yeah, it's actually going to be a proper battle, this one. Again, they give us another one. No, we've got 2 campaigns in this one. Fair enough. So, Chaos Space Marines victory. The hapless armies of the kin fall before the might of the Chaos Space Marines, bolstered by the will and power of the Dark Gods. None can stand in their way. The wasteland of scattered corpses stands as a testament to the might of the heretic Astartes, as a dire warning to others who might oppose them. Again, if this is your first victory, you'll move on to campaign 20, or campaign mission 20, and if this is your third win, you have won the Chaos actual campaign victory. Now, we've just been through the Leagues of Votann, we know what's going to happen. Despite the dark sorceries and unrelenting bloodlust of their opponent, the Leagues of Votann drive them back. The battlefield is littered with bodies, and the pall of an untold evil energy lies heavy over the land. But despite the fervour of the opposition, the warriors of the kin are victorious and have won another victory in the name of their league. If it's your first victory with the League of Votann, you move on to campaign mission 6. If it's your third victory, then hurrah, you've won. Well done, Leagues of Votann. Woohoo! We have another mission though. And this time, it's the Leagues of Votann versus the Orcs. The Leagues of Votann and the Orcs both hate each other with an intense passion and have a long history of discord. Whenever these two sides meet, the conflict is instant and neither side gives the other any quarter. The warriors of the Leagues of Votann have arrived at this system recently and already begun to exploit it for its abundant natural resources. While the Hernkin scouts scour the system for their most promising leads, other forces set out to engage hostile enemies and defend the mining operation. But the sudden arrival of so many heavily armed troops does not go unnoticed, and soon they find their space awash with potential challengers, enemy scouts, and opportunistic raiders. Meanwhile, I'm not going to do it again. Meanwhile, a band of orcs have been drawn to the bloodshed and instability of the area. In the hopes of attracting more orcs to his horde, the warboss is seeking the biggest fights against the hardest enemies he can find. Without any particular plan in mind, they are happy to take the opportunity to fight any enemies, loot any stuff, or smash up anything that someone else has built. Some of them have their fingers crossed that they might be able to do all three at once. Steve! Oh my god. You actually made it to a late stream. You have made it. Welcome in, mate. Welcome in. And I believe you are the only moderator in this evening. So, no pressure. No pressure. It's all good. Got him settled for now. She's just off. Just took off to bring him in. Okay, so I hope he is alright then, Twisted. Yeah, no. Kafra's a nice cat. Kafra's a pain in the ass. Kafra's a lovely cat as well. So, yeah, I hope he's okay. Right, for this scenario, we're using again, the full Leagues of Votann and the full Orc combat patrols. All rules, all stratagems, all enhancements. Using core mission 3. So it's very similar layout to the last mission, except rather than having the 14 inches from the centre going into the deployment zones, it's 16 inches. So again, you're getting a good 4 inches into your deployment zone this time for your objective marker. Oh, you're still in Anglesey, but you'll be back in good old Liverpool soon, won't you? You're coming back up to Scousland. I hope so. I hope so. We've been missing you. The pub doesn't know what to do with your stool. Been sat there empty and lonely and no one's allowed to sit on it. Sorry for the bad Liverpudlian there. So, with the Leagues of Votann, which we'll go from here. The Leagues of Votann have set up a temporary headquarters from which they can direct their mining operation and see off any threats that arrive in the area. From this stronghold they have been able to control the surrounding space, but the Orcs have begun to establish a stronghold of their own nearby. The commanders of the kin send out a small force to push the Orcs back and claim their fledgling base. Orcs this time. The Orcs have gathered so much loot for their one-on invasions and battles, they have set up a new camp to hoard all their spoils. The war boss insists on building in the kin territory. All the better to provoke fury in the foes and rile them up for a right good crumbing. Once the fortress is established, a raiding party is sent out to probe the nearby kin place and give them a good kicking and see if there's anything worth nicking. That is not good twist. I mean, I've got to go to the vet tomorrow to pick up some more medication for my kitty. Tomorrow afternoon, actually, I think I've got to go to pick it up. I'm not sure of the exact timing. But it's never good when you've got to go pick up medication for your animals. Especially, my cat's old now, she's 17, so we're expecting to have to cough up a bit and pay vet bills. Oh, we get a new scenario. We get scenario 40. Sorry, I'm bouncing from one to the other, I know. Cult Ambush. Ooh, this one sounds fun. Okay. The clamour of ramshackle Orc weaponry cut through the silence and took the Magus and her cohort of neophyte hybrid by surprise. Take cover! Their Magus hissed, startling her followers out of indecision and sending them scrambling to hide in the surrounding terrain. Inwardly she cursed. This new threat had to be dealt with quickly. With a blunt instruction, she commanded half of her cultist followers to open fire on the Orcs, hoping to draw their attention. The brutes seemed utterly delighted to have a decent fight on their hands, and gleefully responded with a salvo of their own. Under the cover of gunfire, the Magus and her remaining followers repositioned. The cultists knew this district well, and picked their way through the urban sprawl carefully and quietly. With the element of surprise on their side, they could overpower these interlopers. Once they were in position, they held their weapons close and awaited the Magus' word. After a hasty prayer to the Star Children, she gave the order. Attack! So how to play this mission? Set up the battlefield as shown on the overleaf, which we will come to in a moment, placing a total of 4 terrain cards on the with the battlefield debris, area terrain, or barricade keyword. Pretty much any of the terrain cards. You can find the rules for these in C Core Rules 13, pages 45 and 46. Finally, place an objective marker in the centre of the map. Deployment. No, this time we're not going to get to use everything. The Genestealer Cults player deploys 1 unit of 5 Neophyte hybrids and 1 Magus in their deployment area, and 1 unit of Neophyte hybrids in reserves. Next, the Orc player deploys 3 units of 2 Orc boys in their deployment area. The Genestealer cult player takes the first turn. So the Genestealers have got 11 models, and the Orcs have got 6. That doesn't seem very fair to me. I don't know about anybody else, but 11 versus 6 is not a fair fight. Just how the Orcs like it. Just not in the way they would have. They would have liked it the other way around. Sorry, what was that twisted? They have swabbed and he will complain. And the text will love it. Yeah, they will. He'll get loads of love and attention. He will. He'll get loads of love and attention. So here is the battle map that they want to use. So he wants to use battle map 1, which is, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, it's not. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 blocks. Obviously, each card will take up a full block, but they've kind of put them overlapping 2 squares. And then you've got the Orc deployment zone in the centre and Genestealer deployment zone down here. So it's the Magus and 1 set of 5 go here, and then all 3 sets of 2 go in there somewhere on the objective marker. How do you win this fight? That's actually a good question. That is a really good question. At the end of each battle round, the player whose army controls the objective marker gains 1 victory point. The battle lasts for 4 battle rounds. The player with the greatest number of victory points at the end of the 4th battle round is the winner. If players are tied for victory points after the 4th battle round, then it's a draw. Oh, they love stating the obvious, don't they? They really love stating the obvious. So, deployment abilities. You do get to use some deployment abilities. So, in the game, half the Neophyte hybrids are set up in reserve. Units with deep strike ability, which they have a chance to change the dynamic of battle in an instant. The Genestealer cult player can deploy this unit on the battlefield during their reinforcement step of the movement phase from their 2nd turn onwards. In this example, the Neophyte hybrids are deployed from reserves after the battle has started. During the reinforcement step, on turn 2, the Genestealer cult player sets up on the battlefield. The player places them 9 inches back behind the Orc boys, because a unit using Deep Strike must be deployed 9 inches or more away from the enemy units. So, they plump the Neophyte hybrids down there, 9 inches behind the Orcs, and the Orcs are going to have the other deployment zone down here. So they've now been pincered. Not only outnumbered, now they've been pincered as well. Not looking good for the Orcs. So, if we have an Orc victory, the Genestealer cults make their move, but they had not reckoned on the hardness of the lads. Despite coming under intense fire, the Orcs prevail and give the Genestealer cults a thoroughly deserved crumping. War! That's what we want. We'll give them a crumping, not a stacker. Smash them. Yeah. If the Genestealer cults win, the Magus' ruse works, and the Orc boys are caught completely unawares. Pinned down by the fire from 2 directions, they fall under the onslaught from the Magus and her loyal followers. And obviously, a draw is a draw. Neither side wins, and you get to play it again, essentially. You don't move on to your next campaign mission, and you don't get a victory, campaign victory. However, if you, again, first victory, move on to the next campaign mission. 3rd victory, you win. Hurrah! Well, this Combat Patrol magazine, Jay, is an introductory way of doing it. So they give you, it's week by week and you get little bits. And they are using what are currently the out of print Combat Patrols. So they're not the most up-to-date models, but they are still workable and still usable. And just with this, I think you ended up with about 8 different Combat Patrols. You end up with Genestealer cults, Tyranids, Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, World Eaters, Leagues of Votann, Astra Militarum, Orcs. Yeah, so that's 8. You get 8 combat patrols out of it, all with different rules, all with different things. But I do agree, Deep Strike is a very good rule, which is why one of my Space Marine armies that I can build is all Terminators, just so I can start dropping things down across the board. Both melee and range versions. I think we've got about 45, not including Garriers. It's a lot of Terminators. This brings us pretty much to the end of the second stream today. Because this has gone so quick, it seems like I've not done much today, but then I realise I built the 10 models this morning, didn't I? And that took about 2 hours. So technically I have streamed for over 3 hours today. But what we'll be getting next week, that is what we need to know. So Wednesday morning next week, what will I be putting together and reading then? And it will be 5 aberrants. Yeah, 5 aberrants. And these are the ones that are solely melee, really. Big hammers. Big chunky boys that are gonna smash you in the face. That's what they are. After that, though, we have another 2-parter. So we're gonna essentially get... No, not that unit. We're gonna get this unit again. Which is the standard Neophyte hybrids. So we're gonna get aberrants next week. We're going to learn about insidious infiltrators and artillery. And then the week after, we're going to get part 1 of the Neophyte hybrids again. We're going to learn about Genestealer cult detachments and the combat patrol rules for the Genestealer cults. And then in issue 68, we'll get part 2, so we get the rest of the pieces. So we can actually make them and put them together. And we'll also learn about Outrider broods. And the campaign continues. Outrider broods. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jay. Now I will be streaming tomorrow about the same time, but it'll be D&D based rather than Warhammer based. So please feel free to come and join us, chat, lurk and listen if you want. Entirely up to you. But thank you for coming to join us and spending your time, because that's the most precious thing you've got at the end of the day, is your time. And the fact that you're willing to spend it with me and us, with everyone else in chat, is an honour. Thank you. And that goes for everyone else who's spending time with me and coming here just to listen to me talk tonight. It is an honour that you are willing to spend your most precious thing with me. Thank you very much. But that does bring us, as I said, to the end. So we're gonna get a full unit of 5 next week, but then we're gonna have a 2-weeker again to get another unit of 10. But guess what I found earlier? So I found something that Graham sent me a long time ago, which is the list of things that are coming out for this. So we get the aberrants, then it's 2 issues of Neophyte hybrids. After that, it's the Goliath Rock Grinder spread over 2 issues. And that'll be the 24th and the 31st of December. Going into the new year, we start the new year with Imperial Guard. So on the 7th of January, we'll get the Imperial Guard Cadian Command Squad. Oh, we've got 1 more paint issue. Oh, that's disappointing. The 14th of January is a paint issue. 21st and 28th is a 2-parter again, Cadian Shock Troops. And then Field Ordnance Battery, again over 2 issues. Heavy Weapons Squad in a single issue. And then in February on the 25th, we'll start... Oh no, Attilan Jackals are more Genestealer cults, aren't they? They're the little dudes on the dirt bikes. Ding, 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 ding. No worries, Jay. We'll see you later. Thank you very much for coming to join us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back and chatting with us. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, the Attilan Jackals are the crosser bike guys for Genestealer cults. And then you get the Armoured Sentinel going into the start of March. And then March, April, finishing in May is going to be the rest of the World Eaters. So I'll get to finish off a 2,000 point World Eater army. Yes. Obviously the Imperial Guard will just get absorbed into my Imperial Guard, which I have too much of anyway. It's like 6 or 7 Leman Russes, Baneblades, a couple of Chimeras, Tauroxes, infantries, heavy weapon squads. Too much guard, and I'm getting more. Obviously, I've already sent the Votann off to the Eclectic Beard over in America. The Orcs got absorbed straight away into my Orcs. We're looking good. So far, it's going to be the Genestealer cults are the only thing that I don't actually collect as an army. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't collect. I'm not going to put the end screen up tonight because I've not quite got the timing right. It's somewhere between 14 and 17 seconds. I've just got to work it out, and it depends on the stream, so I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just going to go with the old how I leave. Thank you very much again, everyone, for coming to join me. Please drive safe, look after yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow night. See you later.